It's 7:40. Let's do this. The people we meet, the people we hang out with, help shape who we are. That stuff just rubs off on you. It's all part of the neighborhood. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and this, you are watching First Warning Live, sponsored by Marco's Pizza. We're going to do some celebrating tonight. We're going to celebrate the neighborhood weather watchers who've been serving our station in our 75th year. In some cases, they've been serving us for decades. What does serving look like? Oh, I don't know, taking their daily high temperature, their daily low temperature, taking note of the rainfall, their snowfall measurements, and putting it on Facebook, or in some cases, ring-a-ding-a-ding, calling the station. Because one of our weather watchers, he's not on Facebook. So he's old school, he still calls the station. That's the way some stations used to do it back in the day. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We've got to get to the weather. If you're looking for weather, you've come to the right place. Let's get to it because we're going to celebrate those neighborhood weather watchers at the end. I got to tell you, it was so hot today. It is still hot. At 7:40, it still feels like 97 in Virginia Beach. In Manio, it feels like 94. And in Hampton, it feels like 99. In Gloucester, I don't want to leave you out. 101, Williamsburg, 108. You got to be kidding me. These heat indices are off the chart. And the temperature in Newport News is 90, but it's actually feeling like it's 96. Well, how do you know? Because it says so. That's one of the nice things about having a weather computer. Takes the information in. It doesn't have to take the phone call. Ooh, Nags Head feels like 92. Jackson feels like 91, right? That's where we are at the moment. But did we break any records today? No. But it felt like 102 in Norfolk. Felt like 102. Well, then that should be a record. No. I mean, you can say that, you can think that, but if we did that every time something feels like something, I mean, it was actually 95. It was actually 95 in Norfolk at Norfolk International, but because of the high dew point in the 70s, it felt like 102. But the record, 101, going back way back in the day, 1936, back just after the Dust Bowl era. But I digress. It was 92 in Suffolk, 92 in Chesapeake, and 91 in Elizabeth City. Oh, I got a note from Diane Ladyhawk. She's on here. She says, looks like you had a good time. Oh, we had a great time. I've got some great pictures. Maybe you've seen some of them online, Diane. We had them come to the station. I made an open invite. Not everybody could make it. I sense that maybe next year, because we'll maybe try something new. We'll think outside the box, but that's something we're planning on doing very soon. Speaking of boxes, boy, I digress. Did you know we couldn't do this without having a great sponsor? And Marco's was there on Saturday. Marco's was there. They provided free pizza for our neighborhood weather watchers. They are also giving away free pizza this week, too. All you have to do is go to our website right here, WTKR.com/Marcos. They have 5 convenient locations that are participating in the contest that you can win free pizza for a year. You might be asking yourself, what does that look like exactly? It's pretty simple. All you have to do, you could pick up either a Pozzoli, which is the one on the left for lunch. That's my favorite item. Magnifico, the pepperoni Magnifico. But we're going to be giving away a pizza for a year certificate. That's 1 large, 1 topping pizza monthly for the next year for free. And we've done oodles and oodles. I think we've done maybe over 50 now, maybe more. We've done some single pies and we've done the certificate. So now that we're going from June, today's the last day of June, we're going to go into July. That means those that have the certificate can get a whole new pizza starting tomorrow because it's a new month. New month means a new pizza. By the way, I want to tell you about this cool thing. You ready for this? I think I have it on here. Yes. What's the deal of the week? It's back to the Pozzoli, my friend. Oh, I love the Pozzoli. Yeah, if you go to Marcos.com, you basically get your Pozzoli for almost half the price. Instead of like $9.95 or what have you, it's $5. My favorite is absolutely by far and away the pepperoni and sausage. But you would find all of them very delicious. They come either with marinara, ranch, you could get garlic, just request the dipping sauce that you like. But my favorite item, by far and away, the Pozzoli. It's a lot bigger than it looks, and I would encourage you to check it out. I'll come back to this. But WTKR David is the promo code, real simple to use. I think you'll like and be impressed as I am with Marcos. And because their weather, they love weather too. That's why they sponsor the First Warning Live. All right, let me get back to the temperatures. This is where we were today. As we go back to full screen, I think it's important to note that the record high at the top there says 101, 1936. So we were still 6 degrees shy of any records. Are we getting any storms, you might be wondering? I don't think we're getting any storms at the moment, but maybe. Oh, I like this note. This is one of our weather spotters, our weather watchers, Andy Smith. He could not come, but he says next time. Andy, I hope you'll come, my friend. Come to the station next time we have a little gathering, a little meet and greet. That's what I called it, the meet and greet. But Andy gives us his reports on a regular basis as well, so appreciate him as well. I got to keep moving. It is now 7:45, and there's a lot of humidity pouring in here, but it looks like the storms, for the most part, should stay to the west and not necessarily work their way over here. So we've got a front that's draped across Indiana, through southern Illinois, southern Missouri, and eventually on Wednesday, that will be knocking on the door. Now, I find this map fascinating because this is, in fact, the current image. Where do I see severe storms? I don't. Is that rare? It's pretty rare, I would say. Here we are in the last day of June. There's not a single orange polygon. Oh, wait a minute. I misspoke. I spoke too soon. You spoke too soon, Aldrich. You got to go to Pennsylvania. All right, I got to tell you. And Maryland. We got a couple in there. They were hiding. But the one in Pennsylvania, north of Allentown, which one is this one? This one is maybe near the Poconos. This is Carbon County till 8:15, because this is a military town. You might have family everywhere and anywhere, but that's a severe thunderstorm warning. There's just not a lot on the map. Oh, maybe a new one over here. Is this a new one? This one looks like it just popped. This is what's Central Center, Clinton, and Lycombe coming, I guess, 8:30 for wind gusts around 60 miles an hour. So you got a couple in Pennsylvania and one in Maryland. It looks like right on the border, maybe even a tornado warning. Oh, we do have both. We got weather drama going on right now in Baltimore County and Hartford until 8:15 with a tornado warning there, severe thunderstorm, and flash flood warning. We've got all three going on in this part of the country, but thankfully that's not headed here. It looks like there's still some wet weather down in Florida, but nothing severe at this point in time. If you're on the call, would love to say hi to you. I'm looking at the comments. Good job, my guy. I see Bernard Thorpe says number 100. Not sure what he's saying 100 about, but I'm glad he's here. Kim Thompson-Jones says, I'm so over this heat and humidity. Hang in there, Kim. We're going to do our best. I'm going to get my best to get your comments on the screen. But as I do so, I'm multitasking. That's what I do here. But I got to keep moving because I want to get you the information that you're craving. There is no severe weather threat here. Clearly, we saw it in Maryland and Pennsylvania. But as far as the rest of tonight through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's a nothing burger. But lo and behold, tomorrow is a different story. Where did those colors come from? Thinking colored pencils from a colored pencil box? No, the Storm Prediction Center. That's who it's come from. It's level 1. So level 1 means that Virginia Beach is included, but Elizabeth City is not. It says Ahoskie is included, level 1 tomorrow, but Edenton is not. Franklin is included, but Duck is not. Are we clear on that? They arbitrarily picked where they think the severe weather threat will be tomorrow, and isolated is synonymous with the green. So if you've got a green color, it would be spotty at best, but that's where things are at the moment. I've got to check in here, make sure if I get the comments. They're populating. I love it. Let me go back here and get this on the screen. I got, let's see here. Kim is on here. She's on here. She says, hi, I'm so over this heat and humidity. Hang in there, Kim. It's going to get better. It has to get better, right? We're like, 4 days from the 4th of July, and it's already hot like a firecracker. Can it get any hotter? I don't know. I don't think so. In fact, as I said last Monday, how many of you heard First Warning Live? You said it'd be a little cooler around the 4th of July, and I'm still sticking to it. I haven't wavered. I haven't moved from my position, and when you see the 7-day, you'll say, okay, he was kind of right. I'm expecting 89. 89 is better than 95. That's what we were today. So hang in there, Kim. I know that you are tired of the heat and humidity. Oftentimes we get comments from Denmark. He doesn't like the hot weather. Some of you hate the hot weather. But if you like it, let me know. I'll do my best to magnify your voice. But I do want to show you this again. This is for tomorrow. Let's move this one. Let's advance this one step further. See if this will move here. Yep. Okay. So what could we expect in spots tomorrow? Damaging wind. maybe some flooding potential. Even large hail and tornadoes look like it's so down the spectrum. It's down on the floor. I think what we will probably see is 1 or 2 locations that might have some damaging wind. Now, come Wednesday, I mean, all things are off the table. I think we're going to get some gully washers. You like that word? Gully washers. Like heavy rain could come on Wednesday? Yes. 1.5 inches, maybe locally 2 in 1 or 2 spots. 2 inches wouldn't surprise me with high precipitable water that could be knocking on a door near you. Now, Wednesday, there's no threat for severe weather locally. It's really focused on Tuesday. Oh, and did I mention the tropics? You forgot the tropics. You should have led with that. I should have. This. We're all hurricane sensitive when we live here, right? This is a 20% chance that we get the next named storm. This comes by way of the National Hurricane Center. Came out today. They have either side of Florida. They're going to expect a front to stall, and a stalled front means mayhem, mischief, and mayhem may grow in this area. Meanwhile, we had Barry. What was left of Barry. Barry was kind of like a non-underperformer, but he moved into Mexico. He reined himself out, and that's where he has moved away, right? So he was into Mexico over the weekend. This would be named Chantal. Where do you guys come up with these names? They're predetermined, I know, but let me see if I have. Is that next? Yep, it's next. So we can check off Andrea. That was last Tuesday. Northeast Bermuda didn't cause any problems. Some said, why do we name it? I asked that same question. Barry, okay, maybe he deserved a name, but he quickly faded away in Mexico. So that means Chantal, Dexter, and Aaron are the next names on the list. So if you're Dexter, if you're on the call, I'd like to say hi to you. If your name is Chantal, I'd like to put you on the screen. And if your name happens to be Aaron, we have an Aaron Miller who works in the mornings. She's one of our news anchors. Yes, she's on the chopping block as a storm name, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. All right, I got some other comments that are trickling in here. I see them. Oh, I see William. William wants to know, looking lovely, my friend. William, thank you for being here. Maybe you know some of these weather watchers that we're going to celebrate at the end of this live stream. It's 7:52. I'm going to do my best to stay on time because I never can stay within the 20-minute confines. But what's nice about this platform is I don't have a producer. As much as I love my producers, they're not rapping me in the ear going 30 seconds. 10 seconds, go to commercial break. I'll go to commercial break when I'm hungry, right? When I want Marcos. So, but yeah, this is one of those situations where this is a great platform to be able to dialogue with you. That's what I want to do. But we got to get to these other things on the board here. This is the storm names. We've talked about the tropical climatology. That's geek speak for saying that we usually see, based on history, we usually see hurricanes and tropical storms spike in late August into September. You can usually, without fail, find a really good deal on a cruise line or perhaps maybe a beach house in late August, September, because that's usually when things get really stormy. And most people don't want to have a hurricane or tropical storm ruin their vacation, but history teaches us September 10th is usually a time when things are very active. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and highlight, summarize, if you will, where we expect to be. More heat to start the week. Triple digits, that's where we expect to be for feels like tomorrow. More rain midweek with a cooling effect. That means we could be 10 degrees cooler tomorrow, on Wednesday, as compared to tomorrow. Tomorrow 95, I have Wednesday at 85. So there will be a cooling effect midweek, that's Wednesday, and then Thursday looks good, Independence Day, which is Friday, bright sun, only a stray shower chance. That's how I see it. So hopefully, if you get nothing else from this First Warning Live, and all you see are my headlines, I'm cool with it. Rainfall outlook, yeah, we've had already 4 1/3. I mean, this is the end of the month, right? We're not going to get any tonight, but I do see, looky, so far 4.33. This actually was below average by 1/10. There's a weather story right there. It's just waiting to be written. 4.43 is normal, and we only got 4.33. It's pretty statistically close. But, I mean, we had a very hot month. I think most of us would agree we had a hot month. As far as ocean temperatures, we're now, because we've had now, get this, you ready for this? You may love this. 8 out of the last 9 days, we've been in the 90s. So anything that might be associated with 73, usually July and August in the upper 70s for the ocean temperature, it's like bath water. And when you have a string of 90-degree days, it's like it's accelerated. We're probably already here, and it's not quite July yet. Won't be July until midnight, right? 1 minute after midnight, suddenly our ocean temperature jumps 5 degrees. Probably not. It's probably a gradual thing. But what I'm saying is because it's been so hot for so long, I mean, look at these numbers. We hit 95 today. Hottest day of the month and year was Thursday. Last Thursday we hit 99. We've had 18 above normal and 12 below normal. Does this surprise you? I don't think Kim is surprised. She's tired of the heat and humidity. Can you blame her? I mean, 18 versus 12, that's a lot of heat to take in over a short period of time. Let's see here. Deb says she's got a note about, I think, Aaron. Poor Aaron. She's going to catch it, I'm sure, but we're with you. Yeah, Deb, thank you for that. Appreciate you being on here. Who would you have see here? Tamiko Jones, did I say that right? It says heat and hot flashes, they don't mix very well. No, I don't think they do. But anyway, I mentioned Bernard Thorpe. He had a comment on here. He's saying, good job, my guy, number 100 or 100%, whatever he's referring to, I'm all for. Let's kind of recap, shall we? If you just joined us, we're here in Norfolk, but of course, we're talking about Hampton Roads and Northeast North Carolina. One thing you'll note when you look at this, and I'm going to clear the telestrator off, we've had one day at 90, it was 91, April 6th. We had 2 days at 90 in May, 90, 91, May 1st, May 16th, but we had a whopping 12 days. 12 days this month of June, and they've been very hot. As I mentioned, 8 out of the last 9 days have been 90 plus. When you look at the average, we are running above normal, but this is what I've been talking about. It's the first time we did our first warning live on May 19th, if I have that correctly. And I've been showing this illustration that July usually gives us about 15 days. If you round up, this number and these numbers come from the National Weather Service in Wakefield. My point of mentioning this is that typically we see half the month of July. So if we get half of July in the 90s, then that shouldn't surprise you because that's based on history. That's not even a forecast. That's just given that we usually see half the month. But when you look at what we've had so far, we've already had 15 days. And you could round June up to 8. We've already had 12. We had 2 in May and we had 1 in April. So, I mean, June was an unusual month, but could things change? Of course it can. Because the future doesn't equal the present, or the present doesn't equal the future. Things change. By the way, speaking of change, I encourage you to download the free News 3 First Warning Weather app. Having a NOAA weather radio is another great way to keep the notifications flowing because sometimes your phone loses its charge. Sometimes we don't charge our phone and we want to keep you informed with certain notifications when weather is breaking. Current temperature right now, Chesapeake, 86. It's 88 in Newport News and 88 in Carrollton. It is now 7:57 and we feel like 95 in Suffolk. Are you kidding me? It feels like 97 in Virginia Beach. Manio feels like 93, and Elizabeth City, which I am very excited. I've got new appreciation for Elizabeth City. I went there yesterday and did a spotlight. I don't know if you're aware of it. The spotlights that I like to do. Here, okay, Elizabeth. It's the 9th place I've gone. I've taken 80 pictures. They've been rotating to the side of on the left of here. I'm going to show you some of those coming up. In addition to celebrating our neighborhood weather watchers, I got all this to fit in the next few minutes. So I hope you'll stay with me. But these are the current temperatures, and I want to get through the rest of your forecast. Does it feel like the swamp to you? Some would say if it's above 70, that answer is yes, 100%. 74 dew point in Kitty Hawk, 73 in Suffolk, and 74 in Gloucester. That's somewhere between muggy and oppressive. Oppressive is not easy to take. It's very difficult to swell. It's easy to sweat, but it's very difficult to cool down in this type of environment. And it's very sticky all across the Ohio Valley, the Deep South, as far as the Mid-Atlantic. Here's my expectation, though, as far as the dew point forecast. It will get dropped into the upper 60s by Saturday. Again, you're somewhere between humid and unpleasant if you're following the legend at the top. But bottom line, if you know it's going to be sticky, then you want to certainly pace yourself and not overdo it. Our friends in Knoxville, good evening to you, 86 degrees. That's where I spent the last 15 years of my life, raised my family there. I've been in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and as well as this area in Hampton Roads now for almost 4 months, and they're at 91 degrees. And I have worked all the way up here in Rochester. I'm going to talk about them because that was where I got inspired for the weather watchers, the neighborhood weather spotters, as it were, because up there, lake effect snow is so important to get different numbers, and we'd had a group of weather spotters up there as well. Look at these temperatures all around the country. I'm looking at 115 in Phoenix. You know that's a dry heat. This is Vegas, 108. land of the single-digit dew points. We've got 80 right now in Little Rock. We've got 83 in Detroit. And if, depending on where you have family, different parts of the country, this would be of interest to you. But I want to show you where we're going, because this is important. This is future temperatures. We look at 5,000 feet, basically 850 millibars for a reason. It gives us a good sense. You can see how cool it is just by the coloring in Canada. Some of that wants to drop down northwest of Chicago by the 10th of July. Like I said, just because we're here now and it's hot and sticky doesn't mean it's going to be like that all of the rest of summer, July and August. They could change. Tropical features like the one that's trying to form in the Florida area, that could disturb the pattern. It's kind of like having a rock and you skip it on the creek, and it creates new ripples, it creates new waves, so we could see different waves change even in the next 4 weeks. I wouldn't write this as a gospel situation, but it's guidance. That's what it's designed to do. By the way, Tuesday's planner, 81 at 8. 90 at noon, 95 at 4. You'll notice by the time we get into the afternoon, I have those thunderbolts there. That's about a 30% chance of rain. Doesn't mean we're going to get it, but 95 is likely to feel like 103. Oh, it was 102 today, for feels like, but it was 95, so it's a comparable day. If you liked it today, you're going to love it tomorrow. Similar type of day, except there will likely be a little bit of a wind, gust around 25. Sun's up at 5:49, goes to bed at 8:28. Now that we've passed the summer solstice, we're in that cha-cha reverse, right? Now we're losing seconds to the day until we get to the shortest day in the winter solstice time, which is close to Christmas. But we're not there yet. No, we're just 4 days away from Independence Day. Ooh, is that this week? Yes, it is. Oh, it is. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have a forecast for Independence Day? I'm with you. I'm with you right there. I put a 10% chance for maybe a stray shower near the Outer Banks, but I think we're about 82 at 9, 85 at 1, and certainly by the time we hit 9 o'clock, which is important because that's when many folks are already saying, it's getting dark. Can we shoot the fireworks? We can get close. Maybe it's 9:30. Whenever it's going off, we'll be pretty close to 80. That's the way I see things shaping up right now. Does that help? I hope it helps, because I'm just trying to make it a little more conversational as I'm going to keep checking your comments as they might still be trickling in. Let's take a look at the next graphic here. Again, this is the temperature and heat index trend. You mean you put both on the same map? I did. I'm just trying to help, my friend. I could do this in 2 graphics, but let's knock one bird out with one stone arrow. Let's see, 95, it's going to feel like 103. Let's see here. 91 on Thursday will feel like 98. And on Independence Day, 4th of July, 89 is likely to feel like 94. So excited that some of you are very excited about that. Oh, I got another note from Kim. I guess this is an earlier note. She says, good evening. Glad to have her here. And let's see here. Tamika Jones also saying good evening. So we've got some folks on the call. Like I said, I just want to recognize you as we will be recognizing our neighborhood weather spotters, weather watchers, as they came in this past weekend. Here are my rain chances for the next couple of days. 80% on Wednesday. It drops off in a big way. Only 20% on Thursday, and that's because it's clearing out. Most of what we see on Thursday will come early, and I just left a stray shower near the Outer Banks. I don't see much in the way of rain on Saturday, maybe another 10% chance on Sunday. As you plan your weekend, no doubt some of us will be checking out all week long. Wednesday's the soggiest. Look at these projections, mind you, over an inch in places like Southside, inland Virginia, 1.5 inches in Eastern Shore, and about a 1/2 inch for the Outer Banks. It's now 8:03. Here's a regional look at the future rainfall. Again, what you're seeing here is mostly coming in on Wednesday. So if you're traveling to your family, you're headed to someplace to see grandma, you're headed to see mom, dad, whoever, you're looking at about 1.25 inches in places like Roanoke, 1.33 inches in Richmond, and maybe a lesser amounts in parts of North Carolina. Speaking of the Eastern Shore in North Carolina, let's start with the Eastern Shore forecast. If you're headed to Onancock tomorrow, they'll be in the low 90s. Cape Charles and Exmoor, about 91, 90. Outer Banks tomorrow, very high UV index. Lots of sunscreen would be helpful with a UV index of 11. 89 Manio, 88 Duck, 89 Rodanthe, and about 85 for Hatteras and Ocracoke. As far as the Storm Prediction Center, as we start to wrap up our presentation for the weather, we'll get to some of the other content. These are the colors we like to look at. When they're yellow, they're scattered, but when they're green, they're representative of just isolated or spotty. So Medford, Oregon could get a spotty severe storm between now and 8 o'clock tomorrow, as could Detroit, as could Chicago. Maybe not so much Green Bay, but the UP of Michigan could, and areas south toward Memphis, Oklahoma City, isolated severe storms. This takes us through 8 o'clock tomorrow. We could cover the entire state of Pennsylvania. D.C., where we've already seen some storms. In Maryland, they will continue to be under the crosshairs for severe weather, but nothing going on in Hampton Roads or Northeast North Carolina. Meanwhile, the threat on Tuesday changes. We've got some green patches around Rapid City. That's isolated. Areas north, Salt Lake City, isolated. And then we pick it up again down toward Mississippi, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia. If you're catching a flight tomorrow, they could have some possible delays from storms. Our friends in Knoxville, East Tennessee, Morristown, Rockwood, basically Kyles Ford, Sneedville, Bristol, Townsend, Athens, all have the potential for severe weather tomorrow, isolated as it may be. It extends up to New England, to Boston, to Albany, and really where the crosshairs will be tomorrow will be pretty much New Jersey, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and northern sections of Virginia. As we already mentioned, Exmoor and the Eastern Shore are level 1. That is for Tuesday. But look at this. It really quiets down after Tuesday, because look at it. The only patch of green is up here in Idaho, Oregon, and big sky country of Montana. Everybody else looks pretty quiet. Looks like we're going to have a smooth go of it by Wednesday. Even though we're getting the rain, we won't be dealing with severe weather. We'll get some gully washers, we'll get some locally heavy rain. So I come back on camera here, just want to show you, 7 o'clock tomorrow, we're all quiet. I think all the models are in agreement there, but once we go into midday, it may start dry, but some models want to squeeze a little storm in here before 4. This one does not. So I don't have a lot of legs to stand on when I don't see one at 4, but it wants to bring it in maybe closer to 7 or 8 or 9 north of Williamsburg. That's 9 o'clock. Wants to bring in some of the storms in Williamsburg maybe at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. And then once we go into 7 a.m. Wednesday, now it's just filling in. And now it's beginning to show off. Look at all these red spots. These red. Could you go full screen? I can't. I can do that. Look at these downpours in burgundy and red. This would be heavy rain in some spots, torrential rain, where it's like, make it stop. And it might not stop. If it trains, choo-choo trains over the same real estate, we could have some issues going into the night. That's 5 o'clock Wednesday. We're going to be live streaming at that time. So there's a lot of water here at a Husky. I wish somebody had told me that on Monday. Oh, I'm telling you that on Monday. I wish somebody had told me that on Tuesday. I'll tell you that tomorrow. But this is a projection of 5 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and it continues on like so. So we will have the potential for heavy rain, and the reason it'll be heavy is because the front that's now in places like the Midwest will come knocking on the door like this at 11 a.m., and it'll stick around at 4:30, and so it's going to be the catalyst that causes some of those storms to develop. All right, it's now 8:07. Going to wrap things up here on the weather portion of this, and then we're going to do some spotlighting of some great people I met personally over the weekend. Tuesday morning, upper 70s, very sticky. Tomorrow afternoon, Williamsburg 94, Franklin 93. Wouldn't surprise me if Portsmouth, you hit 94 tomorrow, and Elizabeth City at 93. Moyock 94, Corolla 88, and 90 up there in Wachapreague. Did I say that right? Wachapreague, 90 degrees. Tuesday afternoon, low to mid-90s. Will feel like about 103. And here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. It is rainy at times on Wednesday. I think I've tried to illustrate that as best I can. I'll even circle it so that everybody doesn't miss that. That's an 80% chance. I've covered that up pretty well. But clearing skies on Thursday, 10% chance on Independence Day, and then mostly sunny Saturday, 10% chance on Sunday. Did I mention, I think it's very important to mention, that we are giving away free pizza for a year. Oh yes, but before I get to that, you don't have to wait. If you would like and are hungry for some dinner, you want to save some money, you've come to the right place. Marco's is giving you $5 Pozzolis. These usually I think are like $9.95 or $10. Either way, check it out. All you need to use is the promo code. When you go to marcos.com, use WTKR and then my first name, David. It's that simple. They want you to have some free food. We were giving away free food last Thursday. We're going to do it again this Thursday. But what's nice about it is that there are 5 convenient locations that are participating in the $5 Pozzoli deal of the week. And there are 3 in Virginia Beach, 1 in Greenbrier in Chesapeake and Kempsville Road, and 1 in Norfolk. So I would encourage you to check it out. The Pizza for a Year certificate will be announced on Thursday. And of course, the Pizza Pozzoli Week is what we're doing today, and excited about that all in all. So just to recap, here's the 7-day forecast. I did mention briefly, I had a very busy weekend. We had our weather watchers meet and greet on Saturday. But then early on Sunday morning, I got up, even though it was very hot, I got out and I got a chance to go see Elizabeth City. Now, some of you are like, Elizabeth City, that's where I live. Some of you are like, I've never been there. If that's the case, you don't know what you're missing, because this is a great place. This is the harbor of hospitality. How do you know that? Because the sign says it, it's all over town. Now imagine if you pull up to Elizabeth City in a boat, right? You see where it says 48 hour, I gotta circle this. This is amazing, right? 48-hour complimentary dockage. You mean I could park my boat for free for 2 days? You could. That's why they're the harbor of hospitality. But what I love about it is that from what I've read, they'll even give you like a rose and some wine and cheese. Ooh, they'll do that. They do that. You got to pull up in a boat, though. I think that's part of the deal. But they call them rose buddies, and they come in and give you roses. They want you to spend some money in their town. So pull up in your boat. If you got a boat, maybe you row your boat. You could check out. I love these pictures because I love the fact that I'm learning about this town and learning about all sorts of towns. The towns that maybe you grew up in. These are kind of cool. And look at this. It's just beautiful. It was there in the morning on Sunday. This is just yesterday. They're also a Coast Guard town. Love the fact they've got that present. And I do all these just because, not because I'm told to do it. I do it because I love to do it. And this is like, some people like to play fantasy baseball, fantasy football. I like to take pictures of towns. So if you go to facebook.com/Aldrich Weather, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. All right, I've gone on long enough about Elizabeth City. I'm going to talk more about that coming up this week. I'm also going to revisit how I got from the acting world into the weather world. It was seamless, but I'm going to talk about that coming up. But I really want to focus on the weather watchers, the neighborhood weather watchers that came in. We had a handful of them, and Marcos was so kind to provide us for free pizza. That's one thing I do want to mention as well. Now, normally you see them as this. This is a graphic, a slide that is commonly used at night. I use it commonly at 11 p.m., but some of these names, when I came to the station, Patrick Rocky had started this group, I think some 11 odd years ago, and it was just something that they were just names and numbers for me because I didn't know Edward Hobbs. I now know Edward Hobbs on the left. Which one am I looking at? Here's Ed. That's over here. I know I've met Kathy and her husband. I met her, and I met Gary Gaines. He was here. And so these were kind of cool to be able to meet some of these neighborhood weather watchers because they do all have stories. That's one of the cool things about having them come in. They had never been to the station. I had asked the question when I got here. I said, have they ever come to the station? And they looked at me and said, no. I said, well, let's change that. This is the 75th year. Let's do that. So that's what we did. I'll show you some of these pictures here. This is all of us, or those who attended. I have to give kudos to Miles Henderson, meteorologist Miles Henderson on the right, and Dara Getter. Both of them came in either on their day off or came in early just to show folks around. And on the left there you have Kathy Wilkinson, who I met, and her husband Vernon. To the right of, right in front of me is Robert Wimberly from Newport News. Now what's amazing about Robert, let me see, come back here. Amazing about Robert and his wife Melvinia, he's been calling the station. He says for 30 years. I mean, whether it be decades, 25 years, or 30 years, he's been doing that because he loves it. Nobody's telling him, hey, you have to do this. He does it because he loves it, right? It's kind of like it was with the spotlights. But having a chance to meet him, a lot of the assignment editors and a lot of the news reporters, they've taken his phone call. He would call, whenever he gets his high temperature, he wants to give his weather report. People pick up the phone and they jot it down and they send me an email or send Miles or Dara an email, so we get the update. But what I love about it is that they got a chance to practice in front of the green screen. This was a thrill for not only them but for us. Miles is teaching here about how the teleprompter works, and on the center left here, over here, this is Jim Becker. Jim Becker had spent many years in the Navy, and that was where he learned a lot of his interest in weather. Might have come in from those years. But I had just a great chance to hang out with some of these weather watchers. And of course, Dara, kudos to her for coming in early, and Miles spending some time with these weather watchers. Because again, they're as much a part of the community, and because they're committed to giving us this information. Now, it may not seem that big of a deal to you, but for us, it is a big deal because it's part of our neighborhood. And they care about their towns, they care about their communities, and they're basically giving that back to you. that's kind of basically the long and short of it is. But I want to just got to reiterate, we have isolated or spotty thunderstorm potential tomorrow. I think the better chance of rain will come Wednesday. That's when we're likely to pick up the lion's share of the rain. Just want to check in if there's any comments. Let me see some other notes. Oop, Jessica has another comment. She says, can't wait. She says, can't wait for the cooler front. Yeah, the humidity may not disappear, but at least the temperatures should drop 10 degrees from Tuesday to Wednesday. In fact, let me see if I can go back while I'm just talking about it. Just hit rewind and go back a couple of spaces here so we can get to the forecast, and then I'll sign off. But I really appreciate you all sticking with me here. It's now 8:15. There it is. There's the 7-day. So if you're curious, big 10-degree difference here. If these low temperatures were to drop into the 60s, which they don't, but if they were, Jessica, then we would have a lot more to celebrate for cooler weather. As long as these are in the low to mid 70s, it's going to stay sticky. Even when it rains hard, it's still going to feel like swampy, but at least the humidity, the heat will come down about 10 degrees from tomorrow to Wednesday. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. But anyway, just a reminder, if you want to grab something to eat tonight, I encourage you to take advantage, get half off. This is 50% off your Pozzoli. Check them out using the promo code WTKR David. All right, I just want to thank you again for your time. Remember, life is, it's very difficult to sometimes take it all in. Some of the stories that I've had, my days in Rochester, I had the Patrick Rocky, I guess I could say this, the Patrick Rocky of Rochester. Patrick Rocky's his own individual, but there's a guy named Bill Peterson, the late Bill Peterson from WHAM, the #1 station. He was he's the one that modeled this for me. He used to flip hamburgers in the summertime for all his snow spotters. I wanted to share this story with you and recognize that station because they're the ones that stuff rubbed off on me. I got a chance to do it when I was in Knoxville for many years. I was cooking hamburgers until I finally got pizza involved because I'd spend 2 hours cooking everybody hamburgers, and then I said, hey, let's talk about weather, and they were like, we got to go. It's time. We've been here too long. So getting pizza, that's kind of where that came from, was quicker. So, but what's amazing up in Rochester is that they would get 1 to 3 inches of snow an hour, right? They average about 100 inches a year. And I want to publicly recognize Bill Peterson, who's now since passed, but Glenn Johnson, Papalone, Mark McLean's still there. These are people that their influence on me rubbed off. So having the weather spotters in the community and taking care of them like they take care of us, it was a no-brainer. It just really was a no-brainer, and I'm very grateful for them. And I'm just as much grateful for you for being here on this platform, First Warning Live, which is really an experiment to see if this is a type of information that you want in this type of format. Because we all live on our phone these days, right? This has become our third arm, right? The phone itself. But just remember, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. Just remember that every day is a gift. So make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow. Take care.